We need automation that actually feels human. Real unlock is knowing which buyer signals actually matter.
Welcome back to another episode of the HubSpot Hints podcast. I'm your host, Andy Brimhall, and today we have a special guest with us. We have Michael Romrell from Hey Riot. Michael, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Michael, you've had a lot of experience with not only as an entrepreneur, but with building agencies. Talk about Hey Riot and kind of what you guys are building there.
Yeah, so Hey Riot, we're actually rebranding that a little bit to just Riot Giants, in big part because anytime I tell people I work with Hey Riot, they say Hey Ride, like Christmas time sleigh bells. So so Riot Giants is a fractional CRO agency, and so we work with some really incredible companies, kind of all across the spectrum. And what we do is match them with revenue and marketing operators that really know their stuff in that industry. And so we come with a whole team, and we can help really anything from complete go-to-market, figure it out, who are our clients, what do we need to do with branding, build the lead generation machine that can turn folks into qualified deals and then into revenue, all the way through helping established companies further refine their sales and go-to-market motion, bring down cost of customer acquisition, and just really improve their metrics. So we can kind of help all over the board. Really, probably our sweet spot are those folks that are recently funded, or they've got a product that's really well established and built out, and now they really need to kind of put the gas on the fire to go to market. So
Cool. And Michael, I've known you for a long time, and you're a very creative person. You have great ideas, great campaign ideas. You're one of those people that I love having conversations with because you have so many great ideas. When it comes to agency owners, I tend to kind of categorize them into kind of two different camps. You have your creative campaign people that are just really great at coming up with campaigns, and I think you are good at that. But then there are also systems people that are really great at building those systems that drive revenue. Where do you see yourself in those two categories?
Yeah, obviously we work in both sides. You kind of have to, but our bread and butter is probably the systems piece. That's one of the things that I've done really well throughout my career. And as a result, it's kind of what I end up solving a lot for with the clients we work with. But what we find is, especially with the sales machine, the bulk of losing out on revenue comes because you've got a leaky piping. You've got a leaky bucket, basically. You've got a system where folks are falling through the cracks at any number of locations. And so what we tend to do is come in with a system or help build a system or fix a system where leads are just falling through the cracks. And that's where we tend to get the biggest and best gains. And so sometimes I'm coming in, I'm standing up a full CRM from scratch, or I'm going through and adjusting a CRM that they already have to make sure that, leads continue to get the touch points they need all the way through the process, because it takes 12 to 20 touch points a lot of times, multi-channel, from email, phone call, handwritten notes, all sorts of things. And you got to make sure every qualified lead is getting all of those touch points in order to understand if you're actually selling well.
Well, that's one of the things I admire about you is you're not afraid to build things and to try things. And we had a conversation the other day about some of the things that you were building. Is there anything that you've built for any custom product or CRM that you've built for a customer that you're particularly proud of?
We've done some cool ones. So when I was running Literal, which was an education technology company, we built a really neat lead flow system that was really exciting. There's one right now that I'm building for a client. They pulled me in and said, hey, we've got this product. We've been using it internally for 4 years, and now we think we want to go sell it. We think this is our audience that we want to go sell to. Come stand up a whole sales team for us and help us figure it out. And so that's been a really fun project from basically zero to say, all right, let's go build this system. And yeah, like I mean, I can tell you all the nerdy little things we've done to make sure that we're just dialed in, and moving as efficiently as we can, across the small team that we have. But yeah, I don't know. You tell me, Andy, how detailed do you want me to go into some of this stuff here?
Well, I love detail, and keep in mind our audience is sort of a HubSpot audience, right? We're talking to HubSpot partners and agency owners. I brought you on for a specific purpose, and that is because you're actually not a HubSpot user. You have used HubSpot in the past, and you understand how it works. You've tried it, but tell me why in the end you haven't gone with HubSpot for at least your core business now.
I love HubSpot. I've used it quite a bit in the past, and I've used probably every CRM you can imagine, it feels like. If I haven't actively used it for some good experienced amount of time, I've spent a lot of time researching it, trying it out, testing it. But HubSpot, I love. What I've found, though, is go high level out of every CRM marketing automation tool has by far been the easiest, fastest, most robust tool set that I've ever come across. So I've kind of become a go high level fanboy. That said, I still play in multiple CRMs, and there's instances like another client of ours that we integrate with Zoho and this high level CRM, because there are just certain things that each CRM can do a little bit differently and a little bit better. But go high level for me has been the one place that seems to do everything really well. And the kind of crowning jewel for me when I was comparing HubSpot to Go High Level is that the workflow automation builder is so easy and so robust, so robust. And I think HubSpot did eventually add a webhook feature, but for a long time they did not. And so being able to build into your workflow, day 1, you get an email, day 3, you get a phone call, bop, 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 bop. My multi-channel ability in Go High Level is just huge, right? So, send a LinkedIn automation. I can do webhooks out to third-party providers to do all sorts of things. One of my favorites is a API. Day 17, they get a API request goes out to a third-party vendor, and auto sends the customer information. That vendor will do a handwritten note, thank you note, and then mail it out for me, right? So, I can do an Uber Eats card gets sent out the next day. It basically allowed me to kind of get unlimited with the types of touch points that I was able to do. Anyways, it's just been one of the most simple, easy CRMs I've come across. And I've been, bringing in new folks into the fold, and it's been kind of fun where I basically just point them in the direction and I say, hey, this is the workflow builder. Go make it do whatever. And they say, well, I've never seen that workflow builder. I'll see how long it takes me to do it. And they get back to me in, 20, 30 minutes, say, hey, that was actually really easy. So that's one of the reasons why I like high level.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's interesting about having you on and hearing you say that is, you're a Go High Level fanboy. I would say I'm kind of a HubSpot fanboy. And I don't know enough about Go High Level to attack its weak points or anything. But I will say there is something to finding the platform that you personally like to use, because it's just that much easier to get your customers on it and to do things for your customers. And what I like about you is that you are always exploring new tools and trying new things. And I think that's a healthy thing. I don't think you want to be so rigid in, your platform choices that you can never try anything else, because what you find just may surprise you.
Yeah, it will. And as you work with different clients, you find there are folks that need something that maybe is better suited for a Salesforce, or better suited for a space on some of these simpler names. But there are obviously this range of complexity in your CRMs and your marketing automation tools, and some clients need more and less. And what I find is one of the worst things I can do as a consultant or an agency is come in, build you something incredible, but when it's time for me to move on to another, client or operation and say, all right, this is yours, go run with it, and it's too complicated for you and you don't touch it. Like, for me, when I come back and check in on my clients and they're not using that incredible, beautiful thing that I built them, it's really sad. It's like, I just gave you this wonderful baby and you're malnourishing it, neglecting it. You went back to your old spreadsheets. It's terrible. And so there are a lot of times, there are times where I want to build them this really cool thing over here, but I know when it's time to hand it off or whatever, it's just going to be too much for them. And so I need to build this more simple, easy to use thing over here. And that's where I've liked High Level. High Level has that ability for the nerdy guy in me to be as complex and, exciting as I want to be, but it's so intuitive and easy to use for my clients that they're not going to spend time figuring out a new CRM, but they will jump into High Level because it's all right there. It's easy and intuitive. So,
And yeah, and I think you touched on something that's important, which is you don't necessarily want your customers to never be able to thrive or survive without you. You want to not only set up the system, but bring them up to speed, because if you're starting with a company that's, $1 to $5 million in revenue, they don't have a huge team. That's why they hired you. You want that company to grow. So when that company gets to 10, 15, $20 million in revenue, and they actually do start hiring out some of the roles that cover the services that you provide, you can help them make that transition so that, even the services you offer can kind of shift from, do it for you to consultant and ongoing, from there.
yeah, well, and when they continue to use the tools that I built out at their early stages, right, we may transition on and start working with some other client. But what happens is when they continue to use those tools, then later when they need more help, to expand it further, they come back to me because they know I'm the expert there. I built that. And so I get to continue to grow with them. And what happens is, as a client, it's not these one-off client situations, right? It's I'm here and I'm available as you need me. And they end up utilizing me for many years as needed. And so we come in for multiple projects, and that doesn't happen when you hand them something that's just too complex. They throw it away right away. They end up going with whoever else the next time they need something new. So.
Yeah, they just churn to another marketing service, and then they go through the whole process again, and then they churn again. Yeah, that's not the outcome anybody wants.
They need to feel like you're giving them a solution. They're not having to rely on you as part of their business, right? So it can't be something that's so complicated only you understand it. They want to feel like, hey, that was cool. You gave me an easy solution. I could do this. I don't want to. I don't have the time. That's why I'm coming back to you. But they want to feel like they could have.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, finally, Michael, if we could end on this, I know last time we spoke, we were talking about, vibe coding and Replit, other tools like that, where you can quickly whip up and try these things. Are you using any vibe coding tools to build stuff for your own internal team, as well as for your clients? And how's that going?
I'm loving it. Right. So I'm a software developer by trade, kind of traditionally learned. And so there's a couple of sides that I've been using. One is, of course, on the more traditional side, you've got your IDEs where you've kind of moved from, VS Code into Cursor or some of these other very heavy AI leaning IDEs. Those are fantastic, right? I'm rarely writing actual code anymore. And I've more kind of learned to just prompt and review, and I can adjust here and there. But the speed at which we've been able to move with those IDEs has just been incredible, right? And I kind of reserve my more complex builds for that kind of still semi-traditional IDE AI assisted stuff. But to what you're talking about on the more truly vibe coded side of things, Replic's amazing. The tool I've been using and really enjoying is Base 44. And it's just so dang good at building these quick and easy, and you know, at times can still be complex applications. So, you know, you're probably the same as me. I get these ideas half the time. And I'm like, that would be so cool if XYZ, you know, let's build a thing that does this. And sometimes just having Base 44 build it out within, you know, the 5 minutes that I want to spend on it, and having it there, like, it sort of scratches that itch of like, cool, all right, I built the thing. And then my squirrel brain jumps to something else, right? So it can be good for that purpose. It can also be good for these internal tools that you're talking about. So there's a number of, you know, internal calculators that I've built out, both for reporting up to board level positions, and our CEO, as well as facing tools. And so I'm really, really enjoying these vibe coding tools. You know, vibe coding is, I think originally it's gotten a pretty negative connotation from your traditional developers who are a little protective of their job, and they feel like, hey, this is, you know, kind of AI sloppy. Well, man, if you're still thinking that, you're not toying with the newest and latest and greatest in these vibe coding tools, because they are getting really good really fast, particularly when you counter in the speed at which they're able to move. So, you know, if you're still in that camp of like vibe coding's a little cheap, you're not paying attention enough. So
Yeah. Well, and what I think this point kind of brings up is that the agencies that are just using the tools that are available to them, you know, when it comes to the CRM, I mean, they're on a level playing field, right? Everybody has the same stuff. But when you really get to know your clients to the point of like, you know what, I don't think there is an existing tool that could solve this for us, or maybe it's too expensive, and then you can whip it up real quick and implement it, and it connects and works with something like Go High Level or HubSpot. I think that just like separates you from all the other agency owners that are just using the templates, you know?
it does, dude. So just the other day, this is a great example. I got a text message from a buddy of mine who, he said, hey, I've got this idea. I want to do this thing, ... And I know, like, I just don't have the time and the bandwidth right now to pull in another client, but I wanted to provide value. And so I basically copied his text, threw it into ChatGPT, and then added some voice commentary, you know, scoped this out for me so I can paste it into Base 44, which it did. I pasted it in. And so probably within like what felt like probably 2 or 3 minutes, I replied back to him. I said, is this kind of what you're talking about? And gave him the link to the Base 44 app that did exactly what he was talking about, right? And so when you think about that from a lead gen standpoint, you know, your whole point with lead gen is, how do I provide value? How do I show you that I can provide value? The goal is to always provide the maximum amount of value, and balance that with the cost that it takes you to provide that value across, you know, X number of top of the funnel type of folks. Base 44 or Replit or these vibe coding tools is just a marketer's dream, because if you know how to use those tools, you're in surprisingly a small group of folks that can provide that value. And so the ability to quickly turn around a quick little application to wow these guys is just incredible. And so one of the things that we're toying with over here is part of our lead gen flow, right? The initial website is, you know, come in, we'll build your site in like 10 seconds, right? Tell us what you want, and that can get, you know, name, contact info, cool, and we'll reply back with a link. And so that contact info comes into high level along with their initial kind of description, and we clean it up and fix it up in AI in the background using the Go High Level Workflow Builder, and then we can pump that to the API in base 44 and then reply back with the link all within minutes with no one being involved, right? And so they're feeling like, wow, Riot Giants is crushing it. This is really cool. Yeah, I want to talk to someone. Let me book a thing and I'll pay for a consult, right? Or we don't even need to charge for a consult, but yeah.
That sounds awesome. Like I want to try that, and I think that's sort of like the vibe you want. That's sort of like the feeling you want your customers to have when they try something that you built is like, wow, like that surprised me. It feels like magic. And for you, if there's a system behind it and it doesn't require too much, hand holding, it's pretty automated, all the better, because then that becomes like super scalable for you.
Yeah, and there's a tolerance for quality that that tolerance increases the faster you deliver something, right? So there's the speed to value ratio that I think about all the time. I had an old boss say this to us a number of times, and there is this right sort of place to be in that spectrum. Speed to value. How quickly can you provide the maximum amount of value? And it's, that ratio is different for different things, but that's always sort of a ratio I keep in mind of like, all right, for an initial lead gen, top of the funnel, speed is probably more important than quality here. As you get further down the funnel and you start working with, real clients, and you're scoping out like, all right, we're in the thick of it. We're really scoping out this project. Quality is going to matter more. I'm going to take my time to get you the right numbers, right? And I think I see a lot of marketers mess that up sometimes. So anyways.
Yeah. Well, to your point with speed to value, we always think about, some kind of signal triggering a response, right? Whatever they do over here, we're triggering with a response. And if you're thinking that speed to value is just that we are automatically sending them an AI generated email, I mean, how much value is there in that? Like, that again, that's a level playing field. Like everybody can and should be doing that at this point.
Yeah,
and
that's
you
right.
have to think of like, how do we elevate this response? How do we, what can we incorporate?
Well, I think that's part of the value, right? Like sometimes people are valuing speed, right? And sometimes the value is quality. And so understanding what is really the value here. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's cool. I love that speed to value ratio. Well, Michael, I think this has been a great conversation. Appreciate you coming on. Where can people reach you? I know you said you're in the middle of a rebrand. What's the best place to reach you?
riotgiants.com. They can reach us there. Give us a call. Love to hear from you, hear what you're up to, what your needs are. And as I said, we'll match you with really an expert in your field, and they come with a whole team. So you'll get an administrative assistant, you'll get an actual like executive level marketer or revenue revenue ops person, and we'll work with you to figure out what you need. Do you need operations? Do you need actual feet on the ground? Do you need people dialing and closing deals? We have got a really good team that can pull in the right resources at the right times. And so think of us as, your fractional builders.
Well, thanks, Michael. Appreciate you taking the time. It's been awesome talking with you.
Thanks, Andy. Appreciate it.